Before we get into the video, I just want to note that I did reference some lists before making this deck, so if this looks very similar to lists that you've seen already, that's probably why. I wasn't 100% sure how to build this deck before I went into it, and so I took a look at some lists and then built it, so yeah. Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video I got a deck profile for you, and we're going to be taking a look at Volcanion Turtonator. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed. It'll be much appreciated. But yeah, until recently I wasn't too familiar with this deck just because I didn't have the cards in real life. I knew what the deck did, but I didn't know exactly how good it was, and after playing several games with this deck, I really enjoy it. It's really fun. So we're going to go ahead and get into it here, taking a look at Volcanion EX. It has 180 HP, it's both a fire and a water type, so that's something to note there. It has the ability Steam Up. Once during your turn before you attack, you may discard a fire energy card from your hand. If you do, during this turn, your basic fire Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. And then it has Volcanic Heat for 130, and this Pokemon can attack during your next turn. So if you look at Steam Up and Volcanic Heat base damage, you can already tell that this Pokemon can dish out quite a bit of damage. We also run Choice Band. This will just add 30 extra damage to Pokemon GX and EX. So Volcanion can hit a little harder. But we also run some secondary attackers that I'll get to here in a second. But ever since Volcanion's come out, it's been a pretty consistent EX. I know it kind of died off there for like a brief moment, and then it rose back up. But nonetheless, this deck is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, and I wanted to cover it. But on top of that, we also run regular Volcanion. It has Power Heater for 20. You choose 2 of your bench Pokemon and attach a Fire Energy card from your discard pile to those Pokemon. So if we read Steam Up, we have to, of course, discard a Fire Energy card, and it goes to our discard pile. So that means you can use Steam Up to power up Power Heater's base damage, and then Power Heater will, of course, get a couple energy and let you attach your bench Pokemon. So that's kind of been like the core strategy of the deck, is to use Volcanic Heat kind of as like a late game attack, and then of course Power Heater will be there to kind of set you up. I did that explanation backwards by accident, but you know what, hey, we're gonna keep going with it. But yeah, pretty much you just use Volcanion here to use Power Heater to charge up your Pokemon, and it also has Steam Artillery. That's a very handy attack. It takes 3 fire energy, which is actually very doable with this deck, and it does just a base of 100. And when you think about it, you run cards like Choice Band, and of course you do also have Steam Up with Volcanion EX, so that 100 can turn into a lot of damage, and it only gives up 1 prize whenever it's attacked, so definitely a good thing. But one of the newer cards that we threw in here is going to be Turtonator GX. It has the attack Shell Trap for 20 during your opponent's next turn. If this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, even if it's knocked out, you put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So the base of 20, that doesn't seem like much, but whenever we get back to the fact that we do have Choice Band, along with Steam Up, that can just increase the damage a little bit. I mean, if you think about it, 2 Steam Ups, that's an extra 60 damage. That bumps that base up to 80, and then of course Choice Band makes that 110. So essentially you're going to be doing 110, and then you put 8 damage counters on a Pokemon whenever Turtonator gets attacked. So that just puts a lot of pressure on certain decks. And on top of that, just doing the attack in general will make your opponent have to think about how they want to approach that turn. Do they want to take the 8 damage counters? Do they want to burn burn a supporter for the turn by Lysandering around it? Like, what do they want to do exactly? Or do they just not want to attack at all? I mean, the decision's really on them. You know, Shell Trap can just pretty much make it really difficult for your opponent. I've experienced this playing this deck. You know, usually they'll switch into something they don't care about you attacking, or they'll just take the damage, and if you did enough with Shell Trap's base and they attack with the same Pokemon, then you're looking at potentially prizes, which is really good. It also has Bright Flame for 160. This can be a very handy attack when you just need to do a high amount of damage. And of course you do have to discard 2 fire energy from this Pokemon, but we do run regular Volcanion, so that's something to definitely note there. We can just get the energies back. But it also has Nitro Tank GX. Now, I really underestimated how powerful this attack can be, especially mid to late game with this deck. Attach 5 fire energy card from your discard pile to your Pokemon any way you like. If you're like Volcanions, like a couple of them go down, you don't really have any energy on board or anything like that, you can use Nitro Tank GX and just get pretty much 2 Volcanion about set up, which is actually really strong. Another Pokemon we run here for support, and I think there's a better Starmie. That's up to you guys which Staryu you want to run. Starmie is in here for the ability Space Beacon. Pretty much you just discard a card from your hand and you can get 2 basic energy cards from the discard pile and put them in your hand. This is kind of like an energy retrieval every turn that you can use, which is very handy. I was very iffy on Starmie whenever I first put this in here, but I was like, why are some lists kind of migrating away from energy retrieval and running Starmie? And after playing with it for a little bit, I can see why. This really helps out because you can not only get energy out of your discard pile to attack with, but this is just helping you fuel steam up, which is really, really good. And pretty much the idea of this deck is just to do high amounts of damage. And of course, Turtonator is just there to use Shell Trap and kind of stall a little bit. But it's a little slower paced Volcanion than what we're used to. Of course, you know, we had the Max Elixir list, like the Shamans and, you know, all that stuff, like Skyfield, I know was a big thing, Rough Seas. It was just kind of like an aggro Volcanion, but this one's a little more slower, a little more chill, but still packs a huge punch. We also run 2 Tapu Lele. This is just in here for Wonder Tag. Whenever you play it down, you just get a supporter. Also has Energy Drive. That's definitely an option for this deck. You can just do 20 for each energy attached to both defending Pokemon, or both active, and so that's really good. Essentially with that card, whenever you have a Ultra Ball in your hand, that's just going to be a guaranteed supporter if it's in your deck, so that's pretty good there. But yeah, that's going to do it for the Pokemon. Now we're going to get into the supporters. Alright, for the supporters, we have 4 Professor Sycamore, pretty self-explanatory. It's the best draw supporter in the game. 4 in, just so that way you don't really dead draw and you can keep refreshing your hand. We have 2 Lysander, just so you can drag stuff off the bench and knock them out. That's one of the beautiful things about this deck, is that you can just drag some big HP Pokemon off the bench, steam up a couple times, and knock it out. We also run Hex Maniac. This is really strong turn 1, or just against several different decks. Just stopping those abilities can be really clutch. Yes, you will be stopping your abilities for that turns to make sure, if you do want to play this card, to get all the stuff out of the way that you possibly can. But you can stop popular abilities like Steam Up, for instance, if you're going against in a mirror match, Tapu Lele's Wonder Tag, Shaman Setup, and just a lot of different other things. So yeah, Hex Maniac just stops abilities, really good, really strong. Fisherman, put 4 basic energy from your discard pile in your hand. So you can pretty much just grab 4 fire energy, put them in your hand, and you have stuff to steam up with. And if you don't have Starmie on the field and you need, you know, some energy and you just can't Nitro Tank, then Fisherman's just there to help you out. We also have Olympia. As you did read earlier, Volcanion can attack after it uses Volcanic Heat. So Olympia will allow you to just get, you know, your attacker out of the active spot, heal 30, and it's just a switching card that can get past Vileplume. Plus, if you look at it, Volcanion has 3 retreat costs. That's not too bad. This one has 2 retreat costs, and of course Turtonator has 3 retreat costs. So Olympia is a pretty solid card to have. For the trainers, we have 4 VS Seeker, just so you can get your supporters back, keep reusing them. Ultra Ball, just so you can search out Pokemon, get fire energy cards into your discard pile with the discard 2 effect. And on top of that, it just guarantees you supporter if you have Tapu Lele in your deck, just kind of like an outing if you have a bad hand. 2 Fill Blower, this is so you can discard tools, especially off of Garbotox and Garbodor. You can get rid of those, that way you can keep using your abilities again. So that way, if you're going against a deck like Espeon and Garbodor, you can one-shot the Espeon a little easier if you have access to your Steam Ups and such, or you can just discard any annoying tools, maybe Choice Bands or something like that. 2 Switch kind of serves the same purpose as Olympia, just so you can get your Volcanion out of the active spot, or just any Pokemon you want out of the active spot. 2 Floatstone is also going to help with this, so if you look at it, we have 2 Switch, 2 Floatstone, and Olympia, along with 4 VS Seeker. So that means you can pretty much use Volcanic Heat, hopefully consistently throughout the game. We also run 3 Brooklet Hill. This is something I was really enjoying, and I thought I wouldn't like it, but it come to find out, this card's really helpful in a lot of different matchups. During your turn, or each player's turn, you can search for a basic fire, or not a fire, god dang it, fighting or water type, I apologize, and you can just put it on your bench. So with Brooklet Hill, you can use its effect to search out Volcanion EX, or you can search out Staryu if you would like to, and just put it on your bench. So basically you get a free Volcanion EX, which is very helpful. And so yeah, that's about going to do it. Along with the 14 fire energies, the strategy is pretty simple. It's just like any other Volcanion deck. You use Volcanion Steam Up to increase your attack's damage. You have the regular Volcanion to put energies back onto the field. Turtonator is just there to kind of be an annoying Pokemon and help knockouts become a little easier if they decide to attack into it, so that way you don't have to steam up over and over to knock out stuff. But yeah, the deck's a lot of fun. Probably a little more experienced Volcanion players will be able to see what they want to do with this list if they're taking a look at it for some reason. But I think this is a really good starting list if you're not 100% sure what you want to do with it. And you can kind of mess around with this deck until rotation comes around, and you can start switching up and deciding what you want to do from there. But yeah, I definitely wanted to cover this deck. If you enjoyed the video, you guys know what to do. Take care. I love you. I apologize for all the mistakes in this video. My mouth is extremely dry because it is hot as balls in here. No pun intended. But anyway, yeah, take care, guys. I love you, and peace.